Welcome back to another Movie Moments with Moon, where today's topic is going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The thing I want to talk about for this episode is the characters of the show. I've picked 5 to look at, those being Sam, Bucky, Walker, Zemo, and Karli. This is your spoiler warning, so without further ado, let's get into it. 1. Sam. From the hero he wants to be to the hero people need. I was so excited when I saw Marvel was not going down the route of Sam questioning if he's worthy to hold the shield. Sam knows he is, but he also wants Cap to stand on his own. He doesn't believe the world should have another Captain America, so instead Sam focuses on being Falcon and creating a hero based around that. In fact, the reason he gets so upset seeing Walker take up the shield isn't because he thinks he should have it, but because he believes no one should. So, instead of getting a hero questioning his own heroism, we instead get a hero questioning the motivations of the world. But at the end, he does pick up the shield, because throughout the show, Sam realizes the world needs another Captain America to continue representing all that the original Cap stood for. He is learning the value of a symbol and the power that symbol can have when put in the wrong hands. He also realizes that he doesn't have to be the same Cap that Steve was. He can be his own version. Sam keeps his wings and incorporates the shield and American flag colors into his already existing outfit. He adds the Captain America persona onto his already existing one. He isn't Steve's Cap. He's his own version, the version he knows his country needs at that moment, and it was a character arc I hadn't seen used very much, but was done really well in the show. 2. Bucky. Serving others to serve yourself isn't serving others. It can be hard to forgive yourself for things you've done in the past, even if you had no control over what was done. You can be tempted to think to forgive yourself you have to earn the forgiveness of others, but ultimately that's a selfish way to think. To tell people you have to have their forgiveness to move on with your own life is a lot of pressure and a huge pain causer to the people whose forgiveness you're demanding for. This was something Bucky was realizing throughout the series very slowly. He was trying to make amends for what he did, but only so he personally could feel better. And surprise, it wasn't working, because his mindset was in his wrong place. People can't give you the forgiveness you need, only God can. And when it comes to coming to terms to the things you've done, the only one who can accept it and move on is you. One of the most powerful parts of the series was when Sam just outright calls Bucky out, showing how selfish his actions still are, despite them seeming to be in the right place. Bucky needs Sam to become Cap because for a while, Steve was the only one who believed in Bucky, and if Steve is wrong about Sam, then he could be wrong about him. But expecting that of Sam is selfish and hurts their relationship and makes it impossible for Bucky to connect with Sam on the level they need to work well together. Once Bucky realized this, he starts helping people for them and not for himself. He tells Yori about what happened to his son because despite knowing the pain it will cause him, he knows it's what Yori needs and that Yori's needs are more important than his own. And the best part is, Bucky is going to find it benefits him more when he stops trying to just benefit himself. 3. Walker. You can never be worthy if you're always trying to be. The contrast between Walker and Sam is beautiful. Sam doesn't take the shield because he believes no one should have it. Walker takes the shield because he believes he can become worthy of it. And that difference is what makes Sam the hero and Walker, I'm not really sure what Walker is. At the start of the series, Walker seems okay. Definitely not a Captain America. We all know Sam could do better, but we don't outright hate him. He's annoying, yes, and a bit full of himself, but most people are, especially those put into roles as big as Steve's. But halfway through the series, we watch Walker break. He takes the serum because he's under the false idea he has to be exactly how Steve was to be a Captain America. But he isn't Steve. When Steve lost his best friend, Bucky, he carried on the mission while maintaining his cool and never letting revenge consume him. But when Walker loses his best friend, the opposite occurs. He kills in cold blood and shows he isn't Captain America and never can be. Walker believes he can become Steve, and in the process loses the pieces of himself that was what made Steve so great. Meanwhile, Falcon takes the Captain American title and makes it his own. adding to the symbol where Walker nearly took things away. I'm interested to see how Walker's character develops and where the MCU takes him. There are so many paths they could take, and each is full of unique storylines and possibilities. I noticed a lot of people absolutely hated this character, but I also know MCU is really good at flipping our emotions and thoughts about characters on its head. So we'll have to wait and see if this dislike sticks as time passes. 4. Zemo. One person should not be allowed to represent the whole. I just want to start off by saying I loved Zemo in the show. After Bucky's therapist, he was my favorite character easily, and I'm glad Marvel took this route with him and gave us, the audience, a chance to understand him better. What I enjoyed especially was Zemo's relationship with Bucky. Zemo's entire arc is he's against heroes. He doesn't believe anyone should be allowed to have superhuman abilities. In a way, he's a lot like Sam, as Sam doesn't believe anyone should have Cap's shield. The difference is that Sam recognizes that some people earn the right to have these abilities, such as Cap, and that others learned to use their abilities to overcome their own personal flaws, such as Thor and Iron Man. And this is something that Zemo is learning as the series progresses, that some people do earn their gifts, or learn to, and that one of these people is Bucky. Neither Zemo or Sam would take the serum, but Sam recognizes Steve was right in doing so, and that Bucky is becoming worthy to have the serum as time passes. And slowly, so is Zemo. Bucky offers Zemo a chance, and Zemo ends up keeping Bucky's trust, even going back to prison at the end of it all. Yes, a lot of people put into power or born with it are not worthy of it. And yes, a lot of people get hurt even when those in power are trying hard for that not to happen. But the action of one does not represent the whole. Bucky and Steve are not like everyone else who take the serum. People have different results. I hope Marvel continues to explore this idea with Zemo as we watch him struggle with if supernatural humans should be allowed to exist, and if so, what role should they play? It's a huge theme in the MCU, and one that seems to be getting more and more complex as the universe expands. 5. Karli. Violence leads to more violence. Can someone please explain to me why this concept is so hard to understand? We see it over and over again in stories and movies and even in our own world's history. And once again, we see it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But no matter how much it's said, it doesn't seem to stick with people. This idea that being violent only leads to more violence. Karli starts off her protests aiding others and gaining a following because of it. She takes supplies but tries not to hurt people during the process. And because of this, Sam believes there's hope for her, and that with guidance she could do some real good in the world and make real positive difference. But Walker walks in, and by responding to her with violence, she responds back in turn. This escalates to exploding buildings, people dying, and the kidnapping of politicians. Some of which might have been on Karli's side if she had taken the more diplomatic route instead of the violent one. Upon Karli's death, Sam requests her movement not to be called terrorists. But the truth is, a lot of what she did earned her group that title. It will take work to get that label removed, showing that Karli took her movement backwards in her goal instead of forward due to her violent actions. And now Karli's death will encourage her group to continue being violent, which will encourage the government to fight it back. The cycle will only get worse, and Sam recognized that and called for it to stop. Sadly, a speech will not be enough to stop it all, but Sam taking on the symbol of Cap and turning it to one of peacemaking rather than one of war fighting might at least help. Overall, this show was another great one from Marvel. I love getting to dive deep into the ideas they are trying to represent and messages they are trying to share. The show handles the idea of race and even terrorism in a way that was refreshing from the usual. I hope Marvel continues on this road of having its characters be complex and be more realistically human. It makes the world feel more real and allows for the messages to be more relevant to our own world. In my opinion, it's the reason the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so popular, because no matter how ridiculous the situation or the powers, the people are still that. People. Anyways, that's all the time I have today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, maybe consider leaving a like or even subscribing. Also, let me know in the comments if there is any other TV show or movie you'd like me to make one of these for. But that's all I got time for today. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!